And I'm joined by a legend, dare I say, looks more attractive now than she did when she was in her 20s, Carol Vorderman.
You're not old enough to remember.
Is it the dieting? Is it the fitness? What makes you look so fit?
I think I lost a lot of weight about 6 or 7 years ago. And I think, do you know what? In my 30s, my overriding memory of being in my 30s is that I was tired all the time because I had kids, young children, and you're thinking, oh, God, and I've got this career and I've got to run this and I've got to look after my mother and I've got to do all of this. Whereas now in my 40s, it's sort of, hey, bring it on, you know, hey, I'm cool about this. And you think, well, I don't feel as though I'm not driven in any ambitious way anymore. And, you know, it's the people I want to see. And if I have a 12-hour lunch, marvellous. You know, all of that kind of thing. And the people that I'm not particularly keen on, I don't bother with anymore. Whereas in your 20s, you have to go through all that night clubbing thing, the cattle market routine, you know, and I never really liked that. I did it, but I was never really into it. So, no, very happy.
How can you help me then? Because I am a fatty and I need to lose weight.
Not?
Well, I am. I mean, there's larger portions.
He isn't. He's fibbing.
You haven't seen me without my clothes on. Now, don't tempt me.
There's always a first.
There is. And it really would make you vomit. I'm serious. But I mean, I need to lose a few pounds.
Detox really is the thing.
Oh, but really, do I have to eat cabbage for 9 weeks?
What do you like eating? Are you sweet things?
Well, I've only been doing this show a few weeks, so I'm staying in a hotel, so that's not good for a start.
That's not good. The mini bar.
Mini bar, full English breakfast.
Oh, two of the worst things. You know Susie Dent, who's on Countdown, does dictionaries? Yeah. We stay at the same hotel in Leeds, and we've got into this terrible habit. We go, we just have one glass, darling. So we finish at 9:30, and then there's about 6 of us from Countdown and go, and then you start nibbling and nibbling and nibbling, and have another glass, and then another bottle, and then another bottle, because you really shouldn't be doing that, darling. Goodness me, now let's have another. And then I woke up one morning, I'd raided the minibar, I'd drunk, and I woke up, of course, makeup all over the pillow, surrounded, you know those celebrations chocolates?
Yes.
Everyone unwrapped and eaten, with these wrappers all over the bedclothes, and a little mini Mars bar stuck to my right thigh. And I thought, oh, God.
Well, the worst one is when you go in these posh hotels and you sleep on the pillow and you lay on the mint that they put under your pillow, and you wake up and that's all over the bed. That's the worst one. So help me with this then. I mean, if you drink a minibar in a hotel, I know you're a rich lady, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but that's got to be at least 300 quid, hasn't it?
Oh, it has, and that's only the water. Goodness me, it's a lot. So I pity you for that.
So that's the problem, you see, hotel, and then of course coming in to do people like you now, and then
you need to get onto the old sushi bars, you see.
Oh, I can't.
And take all those takeaways back to your room.
The only thing I like out of water is a boiled egg. I got to tell you, I don't want anything fishy.
Fish?
No, it's the smell and the look of it and the texture.
It's lovely.
I can do tuna or salmon. I can do
tuna or salmon. Nice tins.
You can tell I'm a classy boy. So this detox thing that you're so fond of, I mean, does this mean I literally just have to eat cabbage for 4 months?
Yes.
Right. I think I'll stick to being a fatty, I think.
No. It's that you basically avoid wheat and dairy, and meat, really. Those are the 3 key things.
What's left?
So you eat loads of things that are left. So you have lots of kind of brown rice, and you have loads of vegetables and like roasted, or kind of Mediterranean foods, really. So you'd have lots of roasted veg with garlic and all sorts of different things, and you'd have curries, but there'd be vegetable curries, and you'd have big brown rice. You actually eat an awful lot of food, but it's just slightly different. But they don't supply it in hotels.
No, and you can't make it in a kettle, can you? Not very well.
But you can get miso soup, Japanese soup, you see. That's very low in calories, dried, and that's really nice.
My eyes are glazing over now, Carola. But let's talk about this new book, and we're going to talk about it in detail in a moment from now, because you got this massive book of Sudoko.
Yeah, drop it on the floor, see how heavy it is. I know. That is massive.
It's almost as big as my piles, actually, to be honest with you. And this book, then, I mean, this is a phenomena, isn't it? Everybody loves this Sudoko.
I know.
What does it mean for a start?
It doesn't mean anything. Well, it does. It means the single number, but it's a made-up word.
Right.
Really. Yeah. I met a lady, the actual lady, who married Mr. Ernie Doku 27 years ago, and has had a real life. She lives in East London. She had a real life called Mrs. Sudoko for 27 years until this one.
That's
Poor
fantastic.
woman. I got her autograph. I got her to give me her autograph.
Did she ask for yours? That's the thing.
So she's the closest to the real thing. But Sudoku, it's very recent. It's in about the last 6 months that it's suddenly become a craze in the tabloids and so on. And I've written a book which is number 2 in the charts at the moment, How to Do Sudoku. So I put in all my tips and tricks and techniques, of how to do it, from easy to up to super difficult. And that's 200 puzzles in that one. And that's... God, I think we've sold 250,000 copies or 300,000 copies or something since then, since June. And everybody now, I used to be stopped for detox, in the street. Oh, Carol, what are you eating that chocolate for? You're not allowed. Or should I have this or shouldn't I have that? Now it's all Sudoku. Everywhere it's Sudoku. What I love is the fact that, on beaches, there have been more people doing number puzzles on beaches, British beaches this year, than reading those awful chick-lit novels, And it's just amazing.
What is it? Why is it so popular? What is the key to developing something like this that you can make millions out of?
I don't know. I didn't develop it. It was a puzzle that was, first of all, the original was made up about 150 years ago, but in New York they developed it to this stage. Then a Japanese guy bought a puzzle magazine in New York, took it to Japan, it became a craze there. Then a New Zealand judge called Court Judge, who's retired, bought a book in Japan because he couldn't read Japanese, so he bought one with numbers in. Took it to the Times newspaper, and that's where it started. Only kind of November time it started in the Times, and so but it has absolutely exploded. On my way here, I was telling you, it's in a taxi, first taxi to somewhere I was going. Taxi driver said, "Oh, I love that Sudoku," and my wife does it all the time, and we race again. And I ripped pages out of her book. Got into this other place. Security guard, he's into it. Woman passing through, she wanted to know. Come in here, another taxi driver. Everybody at all levels.
Thickos like me can have a go. Even.
Well, I'm not sure about that. No, do you know, it'd keep you happy, wouldn't it? Keep you happy in your room at night.
I'm going off you. I've got plenty of things to do in my room at night. Don't worry about that. We're here today with Carol Vorderman. It's the Late Night Revolution at Capital Gold. We'll take a piece of music and we'll be back to talk about Countdown and your career and more about that little body of yours. Carol Vorderman, thank you for not walking out, because that doesn't happen very often where people stay for the second part.
Oh, do they? I didn't know there's a tradition in this.
Normally by now they're halfway down the corridor.
Yeah, but you've got my book in your hands. I'm not going to take it with me.
Exactly. How much is this book, by the way?
The new book is the massive book of Sudoku, and I put it together really as an ideal Christmas present because it weighs about half a ton, and it's got 400 puzzles in it and lots of tips and stuff. So it's the idea for anyone who's into it, like your dad or your mum.
But the thing is, if you're not into it, what you can do, you see, is buy it somebody, drop it on the floor, and then stand on it to read a good book. You see? There's an idea for those who don't like it.
I hadn't thought of that.
And you still get your fee.
And I still get my fee.
Right, let's go through a few things because we're running short of time already. We've got a ton to get to. Your career. I've never seen really anybody actively slagging you off in the press. People seem to like you, don't they? How have you managed that over so many years?
Oh, threatening them.
I don't know whether
bribes.
Or sleeping with them.
Oh, yes. I do live with someone who used to be an editor of a national newspaper.
Ah, you see, people in places.
No, it's not that. I do get slagged off a lot. I used to get slagged off all the time. For what I wore. And there was one time about 5 years ago that if you went onto Google and you typed in mutton dressed as lamb, I beat Donatella Versace, I'll have you know.
Well, there's a claim to fame. How personally do you take that? Because, you're a lady who really is above it all now. You're successful, you've got nothing to prove. If somebody was to say something, or I was to slag you off now, would it really bother you, or just think, well, that's your loss, you're a guy doing a radio show and I'm on the TV?
No, to be honest, I have been slagged off, as most people in the public eye have been at some point or other, that it's water off a duck's back. It's only very occasionally when somebody makes that, if it's something about what you wear, who cares really, but if it's something about my family, then I'm really quite hurt or revengeful. Yeah, but as long as it's just about me, I don't care really.
You don't seem to get the vindictive stuff like the Vanessa Feltz get, do you? You don't seem to annoy people to where they want to go out and get you. They don't seem to be following you home like they do some of these celebrities.
No, I suppose not. No. I do get it though, because because everybody does, to be honest. And I just think when you do get it, you think, it's me this week, somebody else next week. You know, I can't take it to heart because I'm very lucky, and I know, and you know, having done Countdown for 23 years, how lucky am I? First job I ever had, I'm still doing it. You know,
and it's unheard of.
It is unheard of. What a fickle industry we all work in. You know,
I mean, now 23 weeks is a miracle in TV, isn't it? Let alone 23 years.
I know. It's like on television. They say, right, we're commissioning this series, you know, and usually if it's primetime series, like, it's a series and we're giving you 6 shows. Fantastic, big contract. Countdown is always booked for, right, how many? So that's Countdown. And the last 2 contracts have been like this. So how many shows am I signing up for? That's 1,250 programmes. And that's no joke. You know, that is the contract. You go, I'm signing to how many? 1,200. Marvellous. Think of a nicer way to live my life.
How much rubbish do you turn down every day? Because you must get offered every reality show, every crap cable show. You must be offered so much rubbish. I mean, do you literally have a pile at the day where you just throw on the floor?
Yeah, it's sifted out. I have one of my best friends. He has been my agent, manager, whatever. He's just a friend, really, for 18 years now, John. And John works and lives out of Bristol. And I'm doing some commuting to the office. He works at home. and it's really odd because I talk to John for about 3 hours a day. It drives everyone nuts. But we talk about everything. We don't talk about work, but he sifts everything out for me. That's what happens, yeah. So I don't see most of it.
There was a point a few years back where you seemed to be on everything.
I think.
I did the joke on air, you know, 3 funny things happened to me today. I got laid. A politician answered my first question, and I saw a programme that Carol Vorderman wasn't on.
I know, it was a bit ridiculous.
And that kind of was the running joke for a while.
Yes,
now, did you back off deliberately from that, or did you just think, you know what, I'll take the money while it comes? Because this business doesn't always last. You see people who are huge. Dale Winton springs to mind, who 2 years ago was on everything, and now he's just doing the lottery show. Yes,
he's very happy. So I saw him the other night, and he said, oh, darling, I'm just doing 2 series, doing lottery and Celebrity Fit Fat Club.
Yeah, you'll have to do it a bit more camp and slightly high voice.
I can't do a good Dale. But what happened was, I was doing everything because I did think, I mean, I was being paid an awful lot of money, and you'd have been stupid not to have accepted the work. You'd have accepted it.
Absolutely, I'm a complete whore. If you want to pay me now, I'll do anything for you. I fully admit this. I could be fired in 2 minutes.
So I was whoring around for some time, accepting anything. And I did that, and then I was shattered. I was absolutely exhausted, and I wasn't seeing my children enough as I wanted to. So it was partly that, but also partly I wasn't being offered quite as many of the primetime shows. And then the kind of things that I used to do that I liked aren't being commissioned now. It tend to be a lot of reality shows on now, as you know. There aren't many presenter-led shows. No. And my thing is factual entertainment. So I'm not a performer like a Dale is, you know, or Scylla or whatever. I'm not a kind of a funny person who goes on and tells a few jokes and does all that kind of thing. But I like doing we sort of mixed in with facts and stuff. And those programmes aren't being made at the moment. So I'm just very happy doing what I'm doing.
I've said on air before, and I don't know whether you agree, there seems to be a showbiz shortage at the moment. We've lost Barrymore, we've lost Scylla, there's Davina McCall, who's failing at the moment, sadly. Graham Norton's gone to the BBC, so Channel 4 have got nobody. I mean, there doesn't seem to be any big personality.
Ant and Dec are huge, and they're lovely lads, and they are funny, and they've been together 15 years or so, or more.
Well, they started in Byker Grove, didn't they?
Byker Grove.
So they've grown up together.
Done all sorts of different things. So they might be new to my mum, but they're not new to the generation who were watching them 15 years ago. And they're great. And Tarrant, obviously. But yes, I suppose you're right, really. There is particularly a dearth of male presenters in their late 30s and 40s. There aren't many around. If you think of these, I think how many there are. There's Eamon.
Yeah. And he's getting all the work for everything now, isn't he?
There aren't many, though.
No, there really aren't. No. You're right. I mean, there's just very little around. I suppose that's good for you in one way because it means you could get more. But do you now just want to back off and you're happy just to talk to the likes of me and then do your countdown and that's it?
Yeah.
You're easily pleased, aren't you?
I am.
We'll take another piece of music and then we've got to talk countdown. I mean, this is a thing that I think you're most famous for.
Yeah, yes.
And it must have been shown around the world.
Proud of.
Of course. And why wouldn't you be? It is one of the most successful programmes in the world ever. It's certainly beyond the longest. And of course, this year we lost Richard, who, in a way, was mocked by many, but loved by all, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And that's so rare that people kind of knew that he didn't take himself too seriously and that he could laugh at himself, so we were okay to laugh at him.
Absolutely. And because, as you know, obviously you've seen Countdown many times over the years, but he, as we had running jokes between us, like Countdown was on 23 years, never won a single, can I swear at this?
Yeah, go on.
Bloody award. And
I'll do one worse than that. There must be a bigger word than that.
And never won a single thing. And we used to laugh and laugh. And we were always nominated for the National TV Awards, the big one at Albert Hall, and we'd turn up and we'd go, and we'd be sitting next to the bill, between the bill and Brookside, and we'd go, oh, loser's corner again, and all of this. And we always found these things, I don't think it's a northern thing, but really, really funny. But because, we knew that we loved each other, and when I say we, I'm talking about the Countdown team, we were very strong together, and so anything that was a sort of a down, we turned into an up between us. And I think it has a lovely spirit about it, Countdown. And we know that we've been mocked and just on kind of sketch shows and stuff, but we just love it because it's just Countdown. And Richard always used to say, if it was commissioned now, it would never get past the commissioning editor. But here's a little game show, and we have these lino tiles. This old bird in a mid-40s doles out. Then you have a clock, and nothing happens for 30 seconds. And then you have a host who's kind of getting on a little bit and tells these really, really very unfunny jokes. And then you have you do sums, and then you do some sums, and then you do another little bit of a word, and that's it really, and that's 45 minutes, please. Can we have a contract? Get lost.
You see, but if you said we've got 10 people who are quite thick who we're going to put in a house for 4 months and do nothing, then they'd say yes.
Yes.
Then everything would be all right.
Then everything would be all right.
The dilemma I have with this, Carol, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I don't know who can replace Richard Whiteley. I think there's only one person. I said to you in the corridor, I think you were the one that I would have liked to have seen take the show and carry it on, because you are Countdown. You're Mrs. Countdown. He was Mr. Countdown.
He was Mr. Countdown.
Now, anybody who comes in, they're just going to look and think, Richard's not there with his daft ties and silly jokes.
No, but I've thought and thought, as you can imagine, I have thought and thought and thought and thought about it. And I've also read hundreds of thousands of emails, and at first we were all shocked and said that's it really, it can't go on and so on. But then after a few weeks, when we're still shocked, but you think differently and you remember things then. And our viewers who had written in originally and said something and wrote again 3 weeks later and said, actually, we think we miss it, and we miss him, and we will always miss him. And but it should go on because it's a tribute to him. And if it didn't go on, then somehow Richard's memory would be lost far faster than if it carries on, because, and I know you believe me, it will go on as a tribute to him and with the greatest of respect and love for him. And if any programme's going to do that, it's Countdown. Mr. Whiteley, old Dick, King Dick, will never be forgotten if we can help it.
You can't remember that poem about Dick, can you, that he wrote? I saw it the other day. I should have brought it in.
What was it? There's Dick Turpin and there's Dick... that
right,
one, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's... I can't remember.
There's
I should write it out.
That we look up.
But yes, the one that we love. That's you, Richard. You're the greatest dick of all. That's right. Oh, he loved that poem. How he loved it.
I mean, it was just silly schoolboy humour, but the old ladies loved it, the students loved it, and all those in between loved it. And I think the reason being is because, like yourself, it's just being real. You don't feel like you're watching a performer. You're just watching two guys who happen to be on the TV doing a quiz show.
Yeah, that's right. And you do play. You can't just watch Countdown. You have to play it, don't you?
Absolutely.
And it's a lovely pace, and it's very gentle. And whoever, because the decision has not been made yet, and will be made shortly, and there are a number of names.
Will you be a big part in that decision?
Yes, and it will have to be someone who loves the programme. Of that, there's no question. So, and if they love the programme, then they will have respect for Richard and everything that he did. And everyone who works on it, we're all part of the Countdown family, and I think it's right that it carries on now. I have to think that the other way round, what happened if I had passed away, an accident or something, what would have happened? And I think I would have wanted it eventually to carry on, and it's been off air. It will have been off air for 3 months, and I think that's...
Here's the question of the interview.
Go on.
If the tragedy happened and something happened to you tomorrow, who would you want to replace you?
Who would I want to replace? Oh, I don't know.
Jay Goody? Jordan?
I don't know. Sharon Stone.
Oh, there you go. And the similarities are obvious. Carol Vorderman, it's been a pleasure seeing you today. Thank you so much for coming in, and good luck with this new book. It's already a massive hit. We don't really need to promote it, but it's the massive book of Sudoko.
Oh, yes.
And it's got a ton of things in here that you can sit and play with. And
$8.99.
A whopping great big massive book. And as I say, if you like it, you'll love the book. If you don't like it, buy it for a partner who can use it to keep a door open. Either way, you get your fee.
Multitasking book.
Carol Vorderman, thank you so much for coming in today to Capital Gold.